Good evening, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with a Trumpet for My People. Today is May 28th, 2020. And I want to share a piece of information with you that came out today. Very interesting details on this scheduled launch for today, the 27th of May. They were going to launch NASA's SpaceX Demo 2, which now has been rescheduled for Saturday, May 30th. Very interesting details that I wanted to share with you about this. And the first thing I want to share with you is that the SpaceX Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon spacecraft is the name of this ship by SpaceX. It's called the Crew Dragon spacecraft. So very interesting. Number one, that today the launch, they had some information that they were planning on launching today, the 27th of May. NASA and SpaceX scrubbed Wednesday's launch attempt of the Demo 2 flight test to the International Space Station due to unfavorable weather conditions around Launch Complex 39A at the agency's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Launch has been rescheduled to Saturday, May 30th at 3:22 Eastern Time. 3:22. Okay, so the spacecraft is called the Dragon. And the time has been reset for May 30th at 3:22 p.m. Okay, for those who know what the number 322 means, beyond it being the number of skull and bones and the Georgia Guidestones, if we go in and we just put in, and you can do this yourself. The first thing I did, I went 322 and I did images. And this is what came up. Skull and Bones, 322. And then down here, we have the Baphomet, Satanic Star that comes up. This is the first thing that comes up. Okay, so 322 is a very ritualistic, very satanic number. Okay, it was the day of the abomination of Barack Obama, March 22nd. It's the day of the Georgia Guidestones. There's so many connections we've seen over the years with 322, and now we have the Dragon that is going to be taking off on May 30th at 3:22. I mean, this is within their own power. Today it was going to be at 3:33. Didn't happen. Today didn't happen. 3:33 p.m. didn't happen. And so they, within their own power, they can put any time in there they want. They can make any type of decision they want. And they decide that the best time for the Dragon to take off is 3:22, okay? Now, Revelation chapter 12 talks about the red dragon. It talks about rapture, and it talks about the 1260 days. And I'm going to share with you what we have been watching about May 30th, specifically May 30th, and how this ties in with everything else we're watching on Pentecost, May 30th, the connection to rapture and the connection to the 1260 days. Revelation 12, starting in verse 3, "And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, 7 crowns upon his heads. His tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. She brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron. Her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. Okay, when it says caught up, that is the word harpazo. It's the word that represents the harpazo, when we're caught up to God in the clouds. Okay, he's caught up to God and to his throne. It's talking about the rapture of the church. She brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron. Her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. So the first thing we have, it's the sign of the red dragon. The next thing we see is that the rapture is connected to the red dragon. The third thing we see in verse 6 is that the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, and they should feed her there 1,260 days. 1,260 days. Okay? So we have three things: the dragon, the rapture, and the 1,260 days. Okay, remember that. Hold on to that thought. I'm going to come right back to that in just a minute. Before I go to some graphics I have prepared for you, let's continue reading on what happens after the rapture of the church. There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying, in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God, the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. Okay, so the rapture of the church connected to the red dragon, connected to the 1,260 days, and then it's connected to Satan being cast out of heaven, coming down to earth. Woe on earth, because the devil has come down with great wrath. All of this is connected to the dragon. Okay, now we've been talking about May 30th is the key day that we have been watching. Okay, this is exactly the timeline from the Obama Nobel Peace Prize, plus 1,260 days to the abomination. Within this, on May 30th, we've got the dragon at 322. Well, look at the abomination that took place. It was 322. Okay, so we've got a double confirmation of 322 here within the sign of the Antichrist, the red dragon, 322 again. Then we've got 1,290 days taking us to the Feast of Trumpets. Remember that on the Feast of Trumpets in 2016, Barack Obama said, the Republicans think I'm the Antichrist. Then, from Feast of Trumpets 2016, we add 1,335 days, and it brings us to Pentecost. Blessed is he who waits and comes to the 1,335 days. Pentecost is 1,335 days from the Feast of Trumpets. And this is the day in question with the red dragon. Now, there's a detail that came out with this as I was reading this. And if you look into the articles and read about the situation, you'll see that this is the first manned spacecraft from American soil in over a decade that they are going to be sending astronauts to the International Space Station from American soil. This is the first launch in over a decade. I mean, this is not a common event. This is not a common happening, okay? So all of this happening exactly on this day in question. The name of the astronaut launch or the spaceship launch is Dragon. 3:22 is the time. It's May 30th, Pentecost. And then if we see, remember we saw in Revelation chapter 12, it was the dragon and it was the catching up, caught up to God into his throne, and then we see the 1260 days. Well, May 30th has a 7-year timeline connected to the dates of the flood. If we go back from Pentecost, 1290 days, it brings us to November 17th, 2016, which was the beginning of the flood, the day that the Revelation 12 sign began as Jupiter was entering Virgo. And if we go forward 1260 days, it brings us to November 11th, 2023, which is 27 Chesvan and the end of the flood. I mean, we have a 7-year timeline connected to Pentecost being the mid-tribulation marker, the mid-tribulation rapture marker, pre-great tribulation, pre-wrath of God, okay? And we have another 1260 days marked by the end of the flood on November 11th, 2023. Okay, so both dates in question are the beginning and the end of the flood. Chesvan 17 and Chesvan 27. The 17th day of the second month and the 27th day of the second month connected in the middle to Pentecost. May 30th, 2020. And so this detail comes out that the blessed day, 1335, is connected to the Feast of Trumpets, to the Feast of Pentecost, by 1335 days. So here we have, the launching of SpaceX Dragon crew, 322. The number of skull and bones, the number of Baphomet, the number of Satan, 322. The number of the Georgia Guidestones. And it's all happening on May 30th. What are the odds of this? What are the odds of this? Okay, May 30th. So is this the day that the dragon is going to fly? Is this the day that Satan is going to be cast down to heaven, to earth, from heaven, cast out of heaven? Is this the day for the rapture of the church? This is amazing details in addition to everything else we have already been watching. So I just wanted to share a few things with you. There's a lot of other numbers involved with the details of the article that came out, and I'm not going to get into all of that. I think it was powerful enough to say that the dragon is going to fly on May 30th, and the time of 322 is just icing on the cake as far as an amazing sign of the satanic stronghold that they have on this, on everything that is happening within the world. The beast is running the system. There's no doubt about it. So I pray you guys are ready. We are on the eve of Pentecost, May 28th through May 30th in Israel. Worldwide in the Christian community, May 31st is celebrated Pentecost Sunday. So between today, May 28th, and May 31st, could definitely be our time to fly. I pray you guys are blessed. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.